Recognize that your mental health is so important. If you don't, then I promise you'll be so distorted. Stiffened by your thoughts, that's a mental rigor mortis. I'm on a hard mission and it won't be aborted. Assorted memories will seem to be your remedy, but in your darkest hour, form into your enemies. Trust your gut, judge people off their energy. Cut them off quick and fast, they are limiting your room to grow.
You're listening to the Expect Effect podcast, where the concept of self-care, well, that's our primary focus. Consider this an acknowledgement of feeling, the birth of every great idea within you. This is your weekly dose of me time, and I'm your host, It's Just Nakia. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nakia. We also have personal pages dedicated to the show at the Expect Effect podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Man, thank you so much for tuning in. Listen, we know life is hard, but we believe that self-care doesn't have to be. So sit back, relax, and unwind as we together uncover ways to truly expect better, do better, and believe better. I don't want to waste any time, so shoes off. We've got snacks and drinks on the counter. This is our weekly wind down segment. Be sure again to follow us at the Expect Effect podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and let us know. If no one else is asking, while you're here in my living room, I am. How are you? How are things going? How are you adjusting to the current climate? Are you adjusting to the current climate? Is it good? Is it bad? Are you helping others? Are you a person who needs some assistance during this time and you can't even imagine helping someone else because your world is upside down? Let us know. We're not licensed therapists, but we are always here to provide an ear or a shoulder of support because we know it's crazy. And right now, in isolation, suicide rates are going up. Things that were already out of hand are even more out of hand, and we're all a little bit scared and a little bit confused, but we can be in this thing together even at a distance. So I implore you, if you're able, help someone out, reach out to your friends, make sure your people are okay. Check on people, no matter how strong you think they are. And know if you're an essential worker on the front lines going out there every day, we appreciate you. If you're an essential worker from home, we appreciate you. If you're an essential parent, I appreciate you. I know you're being an essential spouse right now. I know you're being an essential friend right now. I know we're all playing different roles and we're actively moving and trying to work through this thing. So just know I think you're great. Take this moment to give yourself a pat on the back. This is a little praise break. No matter where you are in life, I see you pushing, I see you trying, and I'm here to support you. Without further ado, let's get right into this week's topic. Oh, actually, before we do, you might notice a little something different. I won't mention everything, but you'll notice our sound quality is up 10 thou, and that is thanks to the AKG Lyra USB plug and ready to use microphone. This microphone is a multi-pattern mic, which means that I can use it to record just by myself, with someone else, or with a group of people. It also comes with C-port compatibility. It is iOS and Android friendly. It has stunning sound quality again, and what you're hearing right now, this is raw microphone, baby. No pop filters, no covers, just raw mic. So again, this is the AKG Lyra USB plug and ready to use microphone. It is multi-pattern, C-port compatible, iOS and Android friendly, and right now you're hearing this raw straight up with no pop filter or cover being used. Great in competition with the Yeti, fabulous when you think about what options are even available in the USB microphone market. And you'll notice I was previously using a Blue Snowball Ice mic, still a great choice, very, very cost effective, able to capture high quality sound, but this right here runs for about $150 and it's worth every penny. So if you're looking to upgrade your recording experience while on the go and at home, for those of you who may be not as equipment up to speed. I'm using an iPad and GarageBand, and we're making phenomenal strides. This microphone has also simplified my recording process by allowing me to record with just one microphone instead of two when recording with guests versus alone. So this is just really an upgrade all the way around. So big shouts again to the AKG Lyra USB plug-in ready-to-use microphone. This week's topic, unity. Understanding and harnessing the power of inner peace and unity. And you know I love a good acronym. So we're going to break down each letter. U.N.I.T.Y. Unity. First, U, understanding inner peace. Don't recognize the state as a final goal, but rather an ongoing process. It never ends, okay? Inner peace does not equate to a consistent sense of calm or contentment. And in many instances, it appears only for an instant. But the upside being that it has the potential, right, to appear over and over again. Remain committed to the practice of becoming the best version of self, and you will find that life is encompassed with highs and lows. But as sure as the sun sets, again, it will rise. Okay, like over and over again, we're going to have to really get into practicing, harnessing our inner peace, much like that Nelly song, okay, over and over again. I just had to repeat that in a way that y'all could feel it. But really, you cannot look at this and say, peace is going to be where I stop. Peace is something you got to constantly reach for and grab for. If you're in this cycle of thinking that life's just going to be easy or work itself out or things are always going to be simple or you ain't going to have nothing to worry about ever, then you're misapplying your energy. You're misdirecting. You're wasting it. Because life is going to have struggles. Your boyfriend's going to fuck up. Your mama's going to upset you. You're going to fall out with somebody at work. Something's not going to go right. You're going to fall walking down the street one day. Somebody's going to be running late with your food order. Somebody's going to run off on you one day. Somebody still owes you $20 from 96. Carol, I know, but that's the thing. Your peace can't be dependent on your present circumstances, but it has to be dependent upon your ability to overcome and your ability to claim what is yours, what you're gonna have, and what you deserve. And in that, we're gonna move to the N in unity. We're gonna talk about navigating day-to-day tasks. Because when I say understand inner peace, the first and only thing I really want you to take away from any of that is that it's not a final goal, but an ongoing process. And that you have to remain committed to the practice of becoming the best version of yourself to be able to reobtain that thing over and over again. Because life in some way is going to constantly work to take it from you. And when you're doing that, you're going to be navigating your day-to-day task properly. And that's the N in unity. So we've talked about understanding inner peace. Now we're moving on to navigating day-to-day task. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Organization is key. If you haven't found a way to manage what's right in front of you, then what in the world ensures your ability to handle success? Is that Instagram post more essential than the time you could be spending reconstructing your workspace or reflecting on the business plan? Is it more efficient to run to the bank and then to the grocery store, or should it actually be the other way around? Prioritization happens at every level of your life. Realize this. Remaining conscious and aware of your choices will guarantee balance in the long run. You want to understand your inner peace? First, you need to break away from the tie and this idea that peace and easy are the same thing, and that peace is stability, peace is management, but peace is not simplicity per se. Peace is not 1 + 1 = 2. Peace takes work, okay? And in that, you're going to be navigating your day-to-day task while remaining conscious and aware of your choices. And in doing that, right, there's going to be some intentional goal setting. That's when we're going to get into I. Some intentional goal setting. But just to remain on N for a moment, when we talk about navigating day-to-day tasks, there has to be some organization there. There has to be some arrangement. You can't just be winging it. And you're not going to navigate your day-to-day task well if you have this idea that there should be something easy when we're talking about peaceful. There should be something manageable to the aspects of your peace, something stable, something that you can repetitively apply yourself to. It's wild to me that you think you can keep living and going through days where there has to be continuous passing of time, but not continuous applied effort. That's ridiculous. It doesn't even add up. There has to be work. So in that, there's going to be some navigating of your day-to-day tasks that takes real prioritization and real organization. And the only way you're going to do that properly is when you understand your inner peace. And then once you do those two things, you can intentionally goal set. And when we talk about the I in unity and intentional goal setting, we can't really discuss the navigation of our day-to-day task without mentioning what those might in fact be comprised of. So when planning your day, be sure to set specific goals. For example, instead of saying, I'm a journal today, you're going to say, I'm going to journal my affirmations today, or I'm going to journal ideas related to the business. And then you're going to get really, really specific with it. And you're going to say, I need X amount of money by this time in 20 whatever to get to this level. I need to partner with this vendor. These are my 3 top categories here for this thing. You're going to start mapping it out in a way that it's so visual you can taste it. You can feel it. Intentional thinking leads to intentional acting. And when you intentionally act, you have the opportunity to intentionally celebrate, to intentionally progress. You're going to be INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that means? It's all about moving forward. And when you really, really gain that traction, right, from understanding inner peace, navigating your day-to-day task, and intentionally goal setting, one thing you ought to do in the middle of all of that brings us to our T. You need to thank yourself. A lot of people think self-care is doing just enough to stay sane. They think self-care is just enough that I don't go crazy, I don't end up on Snapped or Oxygen, I don't kill my husband, I don't kill my kids, I don't haul off on nobody, I don't go to no jail time, I don't do none of that, ain't no 60 days in, none of that. That's what a lot of people have boxed self-care in. They've said it's just enough for me to get by, but it's an immersive experience. Life is hard. I remind you of this every week. That's why I'm here, because it's an ongoing immersive process. And when I say self-care doesn't have to be, I mean that. And one essential thing to do at least once a day is extend yourself a thank you. Thank yourself for sleeping in an extra 10 minutes, for making that article that ended up making you smile, for reading that article, that ended up making you smile. Thank yourself for making you some breakfast. You don't ever eat nothing in the morning time, be hungry, cranky come 11 a.m. You be all up at work, just attitude strong. You only been at work like 2 hours, but you ain't ate nothing. So just thank yourself for that time you make yourself breakfast. Thank you for carving out 5 minutes to listen to your favorite song. Whatever the case is, make time to explicitly thank you. Show yourself some care. Show yourself some appreciation. Show yourself some love. Meet yourself halfway. Say, I love you. Say, thank me. I love me. I'm great. Me is good because me has been constructing, me has been building. Y'all didn't know what it took for me to get to this TY. That U.N.I.T.Y almost killed me. I didn't think I was going to be able to understand my inner peace or know how to navigate my day-to-day task and then start intentionally goal setting to tie into that. I've got to thank myself. I have to give myself some praise because this journey that I've been through, this struggle that I've overcome, the addictions I've gotten past, the sexual abuse I got past, the anger I got over, that resentment I got over, those hills I climbed, wasn't nobody sweating like me. Nobody was dealing with what I was dealing with. So I encourage all of you, strongly tackle whatever it is and then take a moment to give yourself praise. Say thank you. Just thank yourself. And in that, you're harnessing the power of inner unity. U.N.I.T.Y. Go off, king. Go off, queen. This is where you run things. This week, we're stepping into full effect with Tia of Artsy by Nature. And if you've listened to our previous episodes, then you know that Artsy by Nature is a body positive brand that focuses on uplifting, encouraging confidence, and bringing the focus of self back to people through handcrafted waist beads, anklets, crystal jewelry, sage smudge wands, and all things creative. I'm confident that after you listen to this, you'll immediately want to become a member of the Artsy tribe yourself. Tia's energy is perfect. It's enticing, it's amazing, it's engaging, it's all of those things. Think Rocky Balboa at the top of the steps, Eye of the Tiger, think Diary of a Mad Black Woman when she finally had Charles up in that tub. But if you ain't trying to go that dark, just think about something, just a real victorious moment in your life. But think about it on the most positive spectrum possible. So we're going to dive right into it, deeper into discussing all of the elements of unity, if you will, with Tia of Artsy by Nature. We're stepping into full effect right after this.
Hey y'all, it's Tia of Artsy by Nature.
Okay, what's up? What's up? What's up? We are very, very thrilled to have you here. For those of you who may not be familiar, I would be very disappointed because that would mean that you haven't listened to some of my more recent episodes. But Artsy by Nature is one of our previously featured recommended segments here. So Tia, if you don't mind telling us a little bit more about the business, kind of what you do and why you got into it.
Absolutely. So Artsy by Nature is a body positive brand. We encourage people through waist beads, sage, crystal bracelets, anklets, and our whole goal is to uplift, encourage people, and just bring the focus back to self through our handmade products.
So handmade products, where exactly did the business start? Because I love anything handmade, and I specifically have a great admiration for your products. But bringing it all back to self is what we here at this show thrive on. What led you to saying one day, okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make some body positive jewelry. Like that's the move on this fine morning. Because I can't imagine waking up like that at all. But I know that you did. So thus we have this amazing product. Kind of what because handmade really does seem to me like you started small. So tell me what that looks like for you.
Yeah, so definitely. So, number one, I'm an artistic person, just like the business says, and just like our core is that, artistic expression and everybody has talents. That is ours. So, honestly, Artsy by Nature was birthed out of a dark space. So, I was losing my job with a big communications company. I've been there for 12 years, and I started making waist beads. Well, that was my very first product. So, I started out making waist beads, and initially I saw my mom, who was like 54, 53 at the time, and she had bought some waist beads. And I'm like, okay, now if she's her age and she like them, I was 33 at the time. I like them. So yeah, let me go ahead and rock out with these. Um, and it became therapeutic with me on the brink of losing my job at this communication company. So it just was therapeutic. And then I started selling it to friends and, family, and it really clicked. And so it just grew from there. I started out with waist beads, like I said, and then it went to anklets. Um, and then my boyfriend told me, yo, like, why don't you get into crystals and stuff like that? And I had no clue about them initially. And then I had an ancestor reading done. And my grandmom came through and she was like, you need to expand your business. You need to take it from, just something small, something that you want to keep honed in on, like your own little small audience or whatever. You need to grasp more people. So get into crystals, get into copper and stuff like that. And I did. And literally the business took off.
That is wild. That is really, really wild to think about. But I appreciate you sharing, those stepping stones. And I really,
Mm-hmm.
really like what you said when you said it became a therapeutic method. And I just kind of began doing it. But once I started feeding into myself and taking
Mm-hmm.
care of myself in this way and identifying what I needed, I started to really develop a passion and find that I had a calling here. So tell me how, for those people who may not know, how
Mm-hmm.
waist beads could help play into understanding your inner peace. Because not only did it help you find and understand your inner peace, but it helps you identify your passion.
Sure. So with waist beads, just culturally, they originated in Africa. They were worn for different reasons, like status, femininity, deification, weight loss indicators, and just to enhance women's sex appeal. Um, and just in that itself, and so backing it up a little bit, so I've had countless conversations with different women over the 2 year span that I've been in business. And it's amazing how so many women feel like, oh, I can't wear those, I'm too skinny. Oh, I can't wear those, I'm too heavy. And I'm like, girl, embrace who you are, love where you are. If you love you, the world will love you. If you accept you, the world will begin to accept you as well. But it all starts at home. It all starts with yourself. And waist beads literally do that. And I've had also so many women that reach out like, yo, when they just place their order, I'm so excited. Then when they get the order, I've heard I stand taller, I'm more confident, I feel sexy, my mate likes it. So just that alone. And even if you don't share them with the world and you're just looking at your own self in the mirror, it's just sexy. It just is.
And to have that, the thing of knowing something that somebody else doesn't, and that they have the ability to only see it if you want them to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very interesting factor. And you talk about the fact that you've only been 2 years now
Yes.
independently running this business.
Mm-hmm.
What did the initial day-to-day process look like from the very beginning to now? What's different about how you navigate your day-to-day task?
Life is so much easier now. I can say that. So I no longer have the stresses of, oh my God, I'm not in corporate America anymore. Like, what am I going to do? And finding peace in Artsy by nature, I got faster. Initially, it took me, so there's about, on a 50-inch strand of waist beads, there's about 450 or more beads on there, seed beads on there. So originally it took me like an hour and some change to string one bead. Now, I mean, one strand of waist beads, but nowadays I time myself, and the quickest I've done it is in 13 minutes. So
That
you
is
figure,
wild. That's how you know it's a passion, because the minute
right?
we went past 50 beads, do you hear me? I would have been like, this is it. I don't know. So, I don't, That's how I know you love
Yes.
it. So now
Yes.
you
And I
can
really do.
do 13 minutes. That's wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
13 minutes for a single strand, which really pumped up my productivity, because I say we a lot in our brand and stuff like that, but it's truly just me. It's just a one woman show.
Yeah,
But
no, I do the same thing. I'm always trying to make it sound like there's this big production and it's just me and an iPad, y'all. It's
listen,
not.
it's okay though, because we're getting there. Like, we're going to be employers one day. We're going to be on big panels one day. We're going to have our platforms are going to be huge one day. Like, we will be household names. So when we are, we're going to have a team. So why not speak it up now?
Precisely. I love that. And affirming what you desire, affirming what you will have, all of that to me ties into just making sure that your passion is not only concrete, but that it still has life every single day.
Yes.
When you're able to affirm what you want, you're breathing life into that thing every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's an important factor to have when we're talking about an entrepreneurship journey, regardless of whether like you intended to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so talk to me a little bit, going back to the day-to-day processes. What's the most, like, the biggest takeaway, if you could go back to the very beginning, that you would tell somebody about how to handle their day-to-day procedures, or even that you would tell yourself now in the position that you're in?
I would say slow yourself down. Slow yourself down, slow your mind down. Stop putting unrealistic expectations on yourself. You cannot have 2 years in business without having the first day. You cannot get to your goal without doing day one of the work that it takes to get there. So just slow yourself down, believe in what you're doing, find your reason for keeping going with it. Find your reason for staying with it, whether it brings you peace, whether it's therapy, whether it helps clear your mind, whatever. Find your reason, keep that reason, in the forefront, and just power through. Something that I did start doing that I wasn't doing before. Before I just felt like I had to do everything all at once, all in one day. And you're going to burn yourself out like that. So what's so different? Well, you know what? And another thing is, I've always wanted to have a personal touch with Artsy by Nature. So because I definitely know that consumers buy people and they buy off of emotion. So yeah, my products are nice. They're great. Okay, good. But you can truly get my products anywhere, but you're not going to get the Artsy by Nature experience anywhere. So with that, when I'm providing an experience in the beginning, because I started the business in May of 2018. So in the beginning, I was doing everything through the DM. You want to order? DM me. And I liked that initially because it let me speak to my customers. It let me know who they were. It let me have conversations with them. Um, and then it got to be a lot. So I was missing orders because maybe somebody is in a different time zone. So they're reaching out at 2 in the morning. Well, I'm asleep at 2 in the morning. So I'm missing those
Right.
sales. Yeah. So I'm missing those sales. So then what I started to do was I finally got a website. And I had customers before that believed in me that, we're strangers, but they believed in me. They were like, hey, your craft is really great. Like this quality is great. The pictures do it no justice on Instagram. You really need a website. And I was so hesitant on doing that website because I am a person who wants to do it all by myself so that I know how to do things and you keep the money in house. You know what I mean? Like when you're first starting out, you just don't have it to spend with, different
Yeah,
people.
110%. Because if there's one thing that can always be associated in some factor, at some point money has to be spent. Like
Hmm.
somewhere, money's just gonna have to be spent. So I feel you there.
Exactly. So I built my own website after doing tons of research. It took me like a month and a half, and I know the average person who knows what they're doing, it may take them a week or two. But again, being intimidated and just not really knowing. It took me a month, but I finally launched the website December 31st of 2019 because that was my goal for the year to have that website launched by the end of 2019. Didn't matter when it happened. I did that, and ever since that automated process of having a website instead of having to make sure I'm always on call basically for that DM, having that website made it to where people can conveniently shop. They didn't have to talk to me. And sometimes you have customers who don't want to talk to a person. I just want to make my purchase, move on through. You send me my package, and that's it. Whereas others, they do want to get personable with you. But so that was a huge takeaway for me, just knowing to slow yourself down, give yourself grace, automate what you can, and know that you don't have to do it all in one day, 1 month, 1 week, none of that stuff. And live up to your own graceful expectations, not what you believe the outside world wants you to do.
I love what you said when you said like in order for you to even get where you want to go, you have to go through the first day, right? You have to do
Hmm.
the first thing. And when we talk about walking through the process of being willing to change or learning that something could be better with your business,
Hmm.
I heard you say like I did tons of research. I really applied myself and I really went there. What is
Hmm.
your advice to somebody who is looking at wanting to improve their model or their business structure, but maybe they're in the same situation as you, or maybe it's a finance thing, whatever the case? How would you recommend somebody move past the roadblocks of like self that might say, are you sure you want to do that? I don't know about that. That might get you a little tight when it comes to change.
Okay, so I feel like every business, every small business especially, should have a business aspiration. So a business that they would love to be like. And you can't aim too high. Like I can't say I want to be like Neiman Marcus. Okay, girl. Well, Neiman Marcus has been in business for a long time. They got a lot of money behind them, so on and so forth. But find yourself another small business that maybe is not that small. And the crayon case is a good example of what I'm talking about. Find yourself a business like that someone you can relate to, someone that you could look at and like, oh, this is a normal person just like me. Look at what they've done. Study what they've done. Like people with money and people in success leave clues. And you don't have to go out and reinvent the wheel. So just like me being so scared to, build the website and stuff like that, you don't have to build the wheel. Like you have all these platforms, Shopify, Squarespace, Wix, stuff like that, that literally gives you everything you need. You can plug it in, get you a business aspiration, see what they're doing, and mirror yourself like them. But that whole term of imitation is the biggest form of flattery is a bunch of junk to me. You should not imitate anyone. So when you have this business aspiration, just look to them as a person who gave you the blueprint, and then go and make your business your own. But get you someone who's relatable so that you don't feel like you have such a big level to get up to reach that person's level of success. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I actually think that's excellent advice, because when you talk about, it's like saying, reach for something that appears to be attainable, make the
Mm-hmm.
next goal visible. I think if you make the goal too expansive or too wide, then you're really taking away from yourself, because you're
Exactly.
essentially setting yourself up to not get it. Because the further you say fall behind or something happens, the further that big thing seems to be. So definitely giving it to yourself in kind of like a bite-sized chunk. Let's go back
Mm-hmm.
to where you spoke on being gracious, though, and being graceful with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
being kind to yourself. In what areas did you learn? Because I think for me, and I'll just say that speaking for me, part of me being willing to make certain changes with my show, and being willing to do different things, and having, kind of that, there was a sense of control for me as well. I felt a lot of what you felt. But part of being willing to ease up on that was also just an appreciation of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, you don't want to work so hard. And we
Mm-hmm.
talk about burnout, and we talk about doing so much that eventually you're just putting out mush. Like, sometimes I would look over things that I produced or put out, and I was like, damn, if I had just eased up a little bit, this could have been a
Right.
better product, right? So talk to me a
Right.
little bit about what's allowed you to be gracious with yourself, how you're able to thank yourself. Like, what allows you to be kind and good to you?
So, first of all, I fill my space with positivity. So, just like I sell sage smudge wands. So, before going into my space, I sage. It's just what I do to clear the air. And sometimes, you may wake up not in a great mood, or you may leave, whatever, a situation, or come to your wherever space that you work in, and you're just not feeling great. You're not feeling creative and stuff like that. Number one, I give myself the freedom to say, if you don't feel creative, don't create. Don't put that negativity into somebody's piece, number one. Secondly, like I said, I always sage. I sage before I start, and I also sage my products before I send them out, just so that they're, totally cleansed for the person who's going to receive them. But and just putting positive affirmations around for myself to read throughout the day. Also in my personal space in my home, my room, and I have a son, in his bathroom and my bathroom. Both bathrooms have affirmations written on the mirror, and we change them every so often. Um, I just try to fill my space, whether it's a workspace, a home space, whatever. I just try to fill it with positivity. I charge my crystals, definitely into crystals. Charge them, keep those cleansed whenever I'm feeling, not totally myself, or just want a extra rejuvenation. I'll put those crystals, tuck them joints right in my bra, and go on about my day. Um, but I just know that I just have to slow down and just look at what I do when I am feeling good and when I am feeling creative. And if I compare that to the days where I force myself to create, there's a huge difference in the quality that I'm putting out. So, like, something that I did notice, right? So, a lot of people don't know, but in the beginning of Artsy by Nature, you know, I was so used to being told what to do by an employer that some days when trying to get through Artsy by Nature, like, it started out as fun. And then when the orders started coming in all crazy, I was thankful for them because it was money. And, it could help me pay my bills and stuff like that. But it got to be to where it felt like a job to me. And so I had to take those breaks, and I had to get a tribe of people who I could confide in and let them know how I'm feeling, because again, I just got fired from my security blanket. So I had to get a tribe of people who could encourage me when I didn't feel encouraged, when I didn't feel any hope and stuff like that. Um, and just those people also letting me know, like, listen, you're doing this, you're standing on your own, your mortgage is getting paid, you haven't got anything cut off, like, keep going with this thing, you're good. And the craziest thing that like got me going, that really, really, really rejuvenated my spirit for this business was, okay, I'm an introvert, period, just am. But I did my first vending event December 1st, 2018. And it was for a lady, I didn't know her. So that was scary right there. And an old coworker that I had, who's an amazing lady, she linked me up with this lady for this event that I did. And it was an HIV event. Never knew anybody with HIV and stuff like that, but I've learned so much from her, and I love her so much and her community of people that are at her events. But that event right there rejuvenated me in business so well. It was like it was pretty spiritual in there. And then the people were just so welcoming and loved my products. And after that, I'm like, yo, I got to get better with this. So once I stopped looking at it as a task and I looked at Artsy by Nature as my calling and my true blessing, um, I started changing my designs and actually making concrete designs. I birthed true life into my products by naming all of them. And I started that after I did that vending event in December. And I don't know, things just really took off for me. So just give yourself that grace. Give yourself the grace of knowing that, look, every day I'm not going to feel like it. Every day is not a good day. And when it's not a good day, don't do it. Don't feel like it. Love on yourself. The business is going to take care of itself. Love on you, because you can't create, you can't move forward, you can't set goals nor meet goals without loving you first.
Man, that's super powerful for so many reasons. And thank you for providing so much insight and backstory for us. And really, when you just break it down like that and you say, like, I can't force myself to create. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot force myself to generate because you just can't. And I love that you said it, because like anytime I try to do it, Brett, like it goes to absolute shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
absolute, there's nothing that takes off, like nothing. And I'll look back over it and I'll be like, damn, did you really put that out? You
Right.
posted that? Like, I don't know if you saw, like, if anybody's ever seen the play The Maintenance Man, but there's a section where Arnez J steps out. Girl, this play came out in like 2002. And you're like, oh, 3. It was like back when like all of your black actors and actresses would do stage plays. And so you had Arnez J in it, that boy from Family Matters. Fucking Deatra Hicks was in it. She was singing unnecessarily a lot. But I remember Arnez J stepping out, and he was like, kind of reading people in the audience, and he picked out one girl's outfit, and he was like, you did not say this is the one. And that's really how I feel anytime I put out something that's just not good. So I appreciate you sharing that, and just sharing how important it is to just really be kind to yourself. Because if you're not being kind to yourself, everything else that you put out is going to be bad. And since we did talk so much about sage, I just want to let you know, order number 00449 has just been placed, and that's me on my 3 sage ones, y'all. I'm trying to get my life. Okay, do you hear me? And I was always told to watch the energy, but I got the rose ones, girl, because I'm intrigued.
Yes,
I love roses.
yes.
They're my favorite flower. For anybody who doesn't know, if you look at my logos or even the logo for the show, there's a rose there. They're my favorite flowers. I have a big attraction of those. So I'm super, super excited to get this package in. I'm ordered up, y'all. So you can't even just say I'm not practicing what I preach. And that's a shout to Barry White. But it's, just really thank you so much for stopping by with us. I don't want to keep you too long, and I'm gonna be honest, I got some Mexican food waiting in the living room, y'all. But before we close, if you could just tell the people, one piece of advice you could give to somebody who, not even on an entrepreneurial tip, on a mom tip, because I don't feel like I speak to mothers enough. I know I have a lot of parents who listen to the show. I don't have children, but I feel for people that do, especially right now. I can't imagine what, some parents are working with, they're dealing with. But as a working mother, and a mother that's, raising a young king, somebody who's gonna go on to do really great things, and you talk about doing affirmations with him and having those moments, just kind of talk, if you wouldn't mind, just like what piece of advice would you give to some folks out there?
A piece of advice that I would give to mothers, specifically moms, and you know what, honestly, not even women, piece of advice that I would give to women, because a woman is being watched by everybody. So give yourself grace and be the person you wish you had as a child. Be the person you wish you could have seen as a child. So, and then also know and understand that you don't know everything. If you're in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Know that you can learn from anybody, no matter if it's your child or anyone's child and they're younger than you. You can learn so much from every single soul walking this earth. So just be open to learn, open minded, just to explore yourself, who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. Just be open to explore who you truly are. That's the biggest advice I could give.
Man, be open to exploring self and
Mm-hmm.
know that there is be humble. Do you like what did Kendrick
Yes.
say? Sit down. Sit down and be humble. Because
Yes.
like you really can learn from anyone at any stage, and there should never be a point you count anyone out. And remember, I
Exactly.
know when that emotion rises up on you to be prideful, remember the time somebody counted you out and said
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't, or that you wouldn't, or that it wasn't going to happen. Remember how that felt. And I love what you said, to just be the type of person that you needed to be growing up. That hit
Mm-hmm.
me in my heart. So thank you so much for
My
just sitting
pleasure.
down with us, for talking, for being so transparent, for sharing your story, for being so real. Let the people know one more time where they can find you.
Absolutely. So on social media, both Facebook and Instagram, you can find me at Artsy by Nature 1, the number 1. And then my website is artsybn.com. So come check me out.
Man, that's been it. Another week of expecting better, doing better, and believing better. I'm your host. It's Just Nikia. Be sure to check me out on Instagram and Facebook at It's Just Nikia. But I cannot stress this enough. I am not the show. And we work so hard to make sure you get extra great content creation. I promise. You want to get plugged in. Follow us at the Expect Effect Podcast on Instagram and Facebook for updates. And definitely get plugged into our show's blog page. You'll find that link in my page bio at the Expect Effect Podcast. You'll find journal entry topics for every episode that we do here. You can also find us on YouTube, and surprise, we are now on SoundCloud. So you can find all of that information over on our social media pages. Tia, thank you again. And everybody, I hope you have a wonderful week. We'll be right back here next week for another round of Self-Care Sundays. Remember, life is hard, but self-care doesn't have to be.